Welcome to Hidden in Plain Sight podcast, where the stories are real. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. And if you're returning back, welcome back. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the stories. And your feedback is crucial for this channel. For whatever reason, YouTube has decided to turn off my ads. So as of June the 28th, 2026, this channel is no longer earning revenue. Your donations is the only thing that I will receive moving forward. I am working on a new channel. Once I got it up and running, I will share it. I want you guys to go subscribe. And yeah, let's get into this. In this video, you're going to see authentic pictures from my security camera. This is the night of the Las Vegas incident. So we were sleeping. We did not take this picture because there would have been a video behind it. You can, if you're watching it on your big screen TV, you should be able to see it pretty good. If not, zoom in on it. This is not a regular person. This is a humanoid. During this time that this was happening, I was waking up to different creatures in my room. Now let me take y'all back a little bit. Back to 2020. I was struggling mentally, emotionally, and physically, dealing with chronic pain. That alone set off depression. Who wants to live in pain, you know? It affected my ability to live. Like if I didn't have pain medicine, I couldn't do anything. Being in I've been sick. I got sick in my 20s. Okay, I got sick in my 20s. So in my 30s, my boys were young teenagers. It really began to weigh heavy on me. And I fell into a depression. By the beginning of 2020, that's when I started to feel a shift inside. I was desperate. I started reaching out for help, reading the Bible, calling 1-800 numbers. Nothing helped. It's like nothing would work. Nothing could reach where I was at. Why? Because I was possessed. You heard me. The dark shadows that had been creeping around the house that I had been living with had somehow got entered into my soul. I started crying out towards the end of 2020 to the universe, to the Creator, nonstop, every single day. And looking back, all I can say is they answered. May 2022, we saw this strange UAP balloon-looking creature hovering across from the house, 10 o'clock at night. About a minute later, it crossed over, and the way it moved was so unnatural and disappeared. Military was chasing it. A minute later, here comes military. The same night, my security camera starts going off, and these lights appear at the back of my yard. One of them looks like a duck, a swan. The other one is like the shape of a cigar. They started releasing lights into the trees, you guys. Now, I did kind of jump from 2020 to 2022. Now, let me go back again. From 2020 to 2022, I was waking up to different types of creatures. Solid figure. We're not talking about celestial form. We're not talking about these light beings. These light beings did not come in until 2022. I personally did not start to experience them until 2022. From 2020 of November till I would say May 2022, it was just nothing but ETs, nothing but creatures. Now, I would continue to have these random ET encounters, sometimes every other night, several times a month. I noticed when these light beings came in, it seemed like the encounters with the ETs were starting to ease up. So I was like, okay, so we're going from that to this. And then that's when we started seeing the lights, inside the house, outside the house. The lights are flickering more. Music is coming on, playing all hours of the night, playing songs we never heard. Now, while all this is going on, I'm in a state of shock. I'm hearing frequencies, bells, tones. My body is vibrating. I'm waking up. My body is vibrating, pulsating. I did not know what to think of this. Now, because all of this was going on, of course, that made me cry out to God even more, because I'm thinking, oh my God, heaven then closed this door and I'm just doomed, right? So I have that set aside. I'm thinking this is separate from, my spirituality. Do y'all see them? Like this is insane, you guys, And so I just, I'm like, I've always been sensitive to spirit and energy since I was a little girl, So I didn't know what to think about this. Is this the end for me? Like, and my health was failing. I got super sick once I moved into this house, unfortunately, because the house was filled with mold, and I would not know that until down the road that this house once flooded, and the landlord that brought it never replaced the wood. He didn't replace, the damage, the material that got wet. So mold began to grow in this house, and it was making me very sick. It began to destroy my lungs. And so I didn't know if it was connected to this, if it was, these encounters I'm having, because there were people saying, well, after people have ET encounters, they get sick. Some people develop cancer. So I'm just, y'all, when I tell you, I was like in complete shock and fear. But I would have this time, I would call my sacred special time, where, I would cry out to God and just kind of like throw myself at the mercy of the high courts. And that was the only time I felt peace. I felt the stillness. And of course, when I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was like a very sacred time. But I could not wrap my mind around all of this. I could not. And I believe part of that is because of my upbringing and because what society has put out there for us, right? Look at them, you guys. Like you can, and a lot of people, I would hear this when, I was sharing this footage. Oh, you need to upgrade your cameras. I did. We shot it with our phones, our iPhones. And it wasn't until I did my interview with MUFON that I didn't know about EMF, electromagnetic field. I've never heard of such term. I didn't understand that, spirits have an energy field as well. ETs have one. And ETs are known to affect electronics. I remember the interviewer, I think it was like a lead field research person. He said, if there's a clear picture of an extraterrestrial out there, he said, I'd like to see it. And he said, I bet you it's not real. Look at the blue beam, you guys, right up here in the corner. See them? It was so many of them coming. And I was like, what is this? What have I done? Imagine you're cooking, you're standing in the kitchen, all of a sudden you hear tones and bells and, harmonicas and ethereal music, like, and whispers and just disembodied voices. And I remember in the beginning thinking that, oh, this house is haunted. I mean, you can clearly see them. I can't wrap my mind around people not being able to see it. Now, today, I see more. When these videos and pictures were taken, I could only see the ones that lit up. Today, I see the ones that's in the fuzz. So I do feel like it has a lot to do with the third eye, because my third eye opened during this process. So being, a psychic medium, I thought that meant my third eye was already open. No. Third eye means spiritual awareness, spiritual insight, intuition, being able to see beyond the surface. So, just being born with that ability to see spirits had nothing to do with my third eye. Because my third eye did not open until I started going through this. And now that my third eye is open, I see all of them. I see every single one of them. I did not see all of them in the beginning. And I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have really wanted to shock you guys. I probably would have really wigged out. Like, check them out. I mean, people kept asking me, what are they? What are they? There were definitely some ETs out there, because I was still having encounters with them. But then these other ones came, and they were made of like plasma, gases. It's a different form of life, a different type of spirit. And they would have these lights on them, these little gold lights. Some of them, I saw green lights and red lights, I remember one particular night, and I don't have that picture on this video, but there was like this green mist that rolled in. And so I thought something was up with the security camera, and that was the first time that I actually, replaced my security camera. No, it wasn't the security camera. It was a green mist, a green fog. And the mist itself was actual celestial beings that were green. I could not believe it, you guys. Check this picture out. Now, I know it's super dark. I know it is. But do you see them? You see all the little lights. And then there's some ones that's, in the shade, dark shadows. And another thing that didn't help, I had so many people telling me that these were negative. And I feel like when I look back, because I thought they were too. Some of them anyways, especially the ones that didn't look like, they were gold or bright or, to where you could see them real good. No, that's not true. It is our perception. It is how we perceive. That's it. That's all. I never tried to, I always say I never try to contact them. Let me rephrase that, because when I look back and I reflect and think about what I was doing, I guess you could say I was, because when you cry out to the universe, to the creator, I went past the religion part of it, because I wasn't getting anything. I needed real help. I didn't understand why, where are you at? Like, why ain't you came yet? Because I have the ability to see, and I didn't see anything yet. Not when it came to the Bible. And so I set aside, religion, and I feel like I just opened myself. You guys, I promise you, when I tell you, I let go of everything, and I just opened myself. I did. I opened my heart. My heart was busted wide open, but my mind, there were no restraints. There were no limitations. It was like I was desperate. I threw myself at the mercy of the universe. And I was like, who is responsible for me? Who created me? What is this? Why would you put me here to suffer like this? I have no family. You took everybody. Like, what is this? And I was just done. I've been holding on for so long, and I finally let go. And I was like, fine, take me. I'm ready to go. Do what you got to do. You see all three lights there? Those are all extraterrestrial, interdimensional ships. One looked like a head, one looked like a ship. Now, every time I moved my camera, it kept moving back. Like it was moving, it would come in and move away from the original spot. So basically, I guess, yeah, there are people who are trying to connect through meditation, right? I mean, it just depends. There's different type of meditations. But what I'm saying is I did not do that. I did not meditate. I didn't know that these even existed. I believed in God, the creator. I believed, his spirit, a part of his spirit residing in all of us. And I believed in angels. And I thought angels looked like us because that's what the Bible says. But the Bible also says there are creatures. But I did not take that into consideration because, honey, I'm telling you right now, them creatures are the aliens. Yes, they are. They are the extraterrestrials. Y'all done seen so many, can't nobody tell me nothing different. And I've seen some that was just, I didn't understand what I was feeling. I did not understand what I was feeling because I had never felt nothing like that before. Just pure, unconditional of the highest frequency. I call it the God frequency. And it was just, wow. You have to get past your fear. You have to get past that fear. Even in moments when I was looking at one and it was close, it was in the house and my heart was racing and I didn't understand what was happening in that moment. It was still this, this moment of like, I'm in the presence of something very divine. I have to update my my childhood story, and I got a video already on here. It's called My Ghost Story, but to give you guys an understanding of what I've gone through and where I've come from. And so I know about the lower vibrational ones. Like I grew up in a house that's pretty much all I experienced, I had divine intervention back then too, but y'all, I was just so terrified of everything. Like I never wanted to have this gift. I remember telling my mother, like, this isn't a gift. This is a curse. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And she's like, just check them out, you guys. She's like, just stay close to God. I am. Like, I love God. Even when she would backslide and stop going to church, I didn't. When my sisters never really, neither one of them truly ever got right with God, like, I had a personal relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I walked with the Lord, And so I didn't understand that. And I was like, this isn't, maybe I'm too close. Maybe, I need to get back to the other side of the fence where everybody else is, and they just play in church. And they cry and pray and beg, and that's it. I was walking with the Spirit, breathing, talking. And it just, I didn't understand it, but I do today. None of this is negative. It is your perception. It is, your filters, what has been programmed and installed in you. We've been taught to fear the unknown. See them over there? So you got the windows with the lights, and then you have a whole light beam over there. They just started popping up everywhere. Everywhere. It would not be until 2024 that I started to connect the dots. So what started happening to me as they came into me, as they entered into my energy field, I started shifting. I dealt with OCD, which I call addiction. It's obsessive compulsive disorder. I got addicted to whatever. That broke off of me. I was so disconnected from myself. They brought me back to myself. That was the first thing. I felt like, oh my gosh, I never felt like I was at home, y'all. I never felt that. Home is where the heart is. I never felt that. That was destroyed at a very young age. Very young age. So that was the first thing. They brought me home. And like I said, it took me about 4 years before I started to piece it together, because I didn't think that this was connected to it. I thought this was my past still trying to scare me, because I've always seen spirits and stuff. Like this was something that was just trying to keep me, away from God, disconnected. But no, this is the Great Spirit. This is God. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Great Spirit. It's everywhere. So if you are going through something spiritual, my advice to you, looking back, stay open. They say the cave you fear to enter is the cave that holds the treasure. I could tell you guys dreams that I had 20 years ago, and I will in a different video. But you will be surprised what is suppressed, what is in your DNA. It's suppressing your subconscious mind, your spirit. Your spirit is ancient. There was a familiarness there, but I could not wrap my mind around it at the time because of the separation. Even though I had returned back home, it was still a disconnection there, a resistance, should I say, because of my fear, because of the anxiety. And I'd like to thank Renee and his beautiful wife for flying me into Texas, spending their own hard-earned money, because I don't work. I didn't have a dime, 2 nickels to rub together, but just investing in me and bringing me to their guy there in Texas, Master Chin, who didn't know me. He didn't know my story. He didn't know, but he also has the gift. And, I'm so grateful that I did not allow sleep, the desire and need for sleep to stop me from going and standing in that long line and meeting up with him. And to hear this complete stranger tell me that I've been experiencing angels, it was everything I needed. Like, that was the ultimate shift. Yes, that was the ultimate shift, you guys. Because I knew deep down inside it was a divine intervention, but it was when you turn to the public, even without public, you have that doubt. But I went to the public and I got the backlash that could have really destroyed me if this wasn't real. But because it is, and they're still here and they stay in my energy field, I have so many light beings around me, you guys. Like, oh my gosh, it's like a quilt wrapped around me. I have never felt so grounded and stable in my life. Even with the extreme heights of fear and anxiety, it doesn't matter. It was like this constant encouragement. Look at the little ones over there. I know y'all see that big giant one, but there's a couple small ones over there too, standing beside them. But I'm just so grateful for that, because it was like a grand reset, and it validated. And I came home on this brand spanking new energy. And this is how I know that it's spiritual and it's real. Because the same day I got home, later that night, my sister calls me crying. And she's like, saying she's being emotionally attacked. So I go out there to pick her up to take her home. And next thing I know, I get attacked. See, that's spirit, y'all. That's spiritual energy. It's like I got all the negativity got washed off of me. And as soon as I got home, here it comes. And I knew then, I said, okay, I see what this is. I see what this is. And I've had my head up ever since. You guys, I'm going to keep this video short. I hope you enjoyed it. I know time is valuable. It is, you can't get back time. But yeah, let me know in the comments what resonated. And if you'd like to hear more, I definitely would. Engagement is everything at this point. And like I said, if you want to bless me, I appreciate it at this point. I've always done it from my heart, but moving forward, you guys, this is all for you guys. I do not make any money whatsoever from this. Please understand that. Be patient with me when it comes to making the videos, because I am trying to start a new channel and change is here. That's all I'm going to say at that. So expect it. Things are getting ready to shift. And for those of you who are, don't know or aren't aware, we are moving July 31st. I still haven't found a place, but we will be out of this house come July 31st. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, love, light, and peace.